Hi folks, once again we invite you to join us for an exciting trip to Panama for a once-in-a-lifetime experience of going through a man-made waterway 51 miles long, north to south and vice versa, called the Panama Canal, where you can cross from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean or vice versa within 8 hours, as it cuts across the isthmus of Panama, across the continental divide. This is an epic engineering achievement as it cuts through rock-solid mountains, rugged geography, dense jungle with unforgiving weather. But it carved a historical achievement for Panama and the world, as it has served as an intercontinental bridge for maritime trade routes for many countries and shortened the route between Asia, the Americas, Europe, and Africa. It is fascinating to watch the complex operational mechanism that allows transit of supergiant ships through the narrow chamber locks. Likewise, fascinating is how these huge vessels are lifted up to 85 feet above sea level to an artificial lake and water channel and then brought down again to sea level at the opposite end of the Panama Canal. We started very early in the morning at 6:30 a.m. as it takes all day to transit the Panama Canal. We are met by a tugboat with canal officials to inspect our tour boat. It is best to start the Panama Canal tour on this Pacific side so you can view and appreciate the beautiful skyline of Panama City. The Bridge of the Americas marks the entrance to the Panama Canal. It is the road bridge that connects the continents of North America and South America. As any vessel approaches the Panama Canal waters, the captain of the vessel contacts the signal station who provides information regarding canal traffic and when he will receive the canal pilots, inspectors and officials to verify that the requirements are met to be approved to transit the canal. Assisting tugboats will be provided to assist its navigation through the canal, and electric locomotives are also provided for large ships to guide and center and stabilize the large vessels. The line handlers prepare and secure the boats to the walls of the chamber. Before we took this transit, we had the chance to be here at the Miraflores Visitor Center and Museum and watch the operation from above on how these big ships are towed in these narrow locked chambers. I want to show you this clip so you can see the huge gates on both sides of the wall. As soon as the three vessels are secured and this first chamber is secured, watch these gates close behind us and the enthusiastic people in our boat, to include us, go crazy taking pictures as they witness the first closing of the giant gates. As soon as the gates are fully closed, workers can walk across to do their maintenance job. Then water from below starts filling the chamber to lift the boat to level with the middle chamber. Note the rising water level as the chamber fills up. As soon as the water in both chambers are level, the gates will open. Approximately 25 billion gallons of fresh water is added to the chamber to raise the boat to a level sufficient to allow it to enter the next lock. We are now cruising in the Miraflores Lake, an artificial lake, moving north towards Pedro Miguel Lock for our third lift above sea level. We are now at the Culebra Cut waterway, which is the most difficult portion of the Panama Canal project. They have to cut and dig through mountainous continental divide. It was a formidable task in the early 1900s to dig and cut through 8 miles of basalt rock of the Culebra mountain, to lower the summit from 210 feet above sea level down to 39 feet above sea level, and then widening it to create a canal that would connect the Gatun Lake to the Pedro Miguel locks. About 153 million cubic meters of dirt, rock, and earth was excavated, large enough to build 60 Egyptian pyramids, the biggest excavation in human history. It took 7 years to complete the 8-mile Culebra Cut waterway. When completed in 1914, it was considered one of the greatest engineering feats at that time, and certainly of the 20th century. Note from this schema that from the Pacific side, we were lifted 85 feet above sea level. Now that we have reached the Atlantic side, we will descend through the Gatun locks in 3 stages to be brought down to sea level. how massive these chamber gates are, as shown during its construction in the early 1900s.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to welcome you to the Caribbean Atlantic directly in front of us. We have just completed an ocean-to-ocean Panama Canal transit. Beautiful picture, get a video picture of that, the gates opening. We are now in fresh water. And on the other side there in front of us is the salt waters of the Atlantic Caribbean. Willkommen. You also will notice the third bridge over the Panama Canal, inaugurated about a year ago. If you look in the direction of the bridge, 2.5-hour flight from here directly in that direction is Miami, Florida.
Note how the water from the third outer chamber is spilled to the sea to lower the water level. This amounts to about 26 million gallons of water lost per transit. This is the third bridge across the Panama Canal, which was just completed in 2019. We had the opportunity to drive through this elegant bridge a day before we took this Panama Canal transit tour. The story of Panama Canal would not be complete without mentioning yellow fever, which is deeply entwined with the intriguing history of Panama Canal. It claimed the lives of some 25,000 workers during the 33-year history of its construction. This led to the disastrous failure of Ferdinand de Lesseps, builder of the Suez Canal, who started the Panama Canal project in 1881. In 1886, Dr. Carlos Finlay of Cuba theorized that mosquitoes were responsible for transmitting yellow fever disease, but the medical establishment did not buy his theory. It was not until 1901 when Dr. Walter Reed confirmed it with his experiments in Cuba. With this new knowledge, Dr. William Gorkas, who arrived in Panama in 1904, implemented an aggressive public health and sanitation campaign and mosquito control, as well as malaria prophylaxis with quinine. Within 2 years, yellow fever was almost completely eradicated and malaria was controlled. The yellow fever vaccine developed in 1937 by Dr. Max Tyler of the Rockefeller University did not become available until 1938. The Panama Canal Expansion Project. After over 100 years, Panama decided to expand the Panama Canal to meet the needs of the growing maritime industry, whose container vessels have become too large for the original locks and waterways. To accommodate these new categories of vessels, the project included construction of 2 sets of new locks, one on the Pacific side called Cocoli locks, and one on the Atlantic side called Aqua Clara locks, which are 70 feet wider and 18 feet deeper. They are twice larger than the original locks. A massive excavation also created a second larger lane waterways, doubling the canal's capacity to handle more cargo. The cargo through the canal already increased by 23% in 1 year after opening in 2016. The new lock chambers are now twice the size of the original ones. The chamber measures 1,280 feet in length, 168 feet in width, and are 55 feet deep. This can now accommodate ships that are as long as 1,000 feet, 147 feet wide, with a draft of 45 feet. It has also tripled the tonnage that can transit, allowing up to 14,000 container units. These massive chamber walls are 1 mile long and equivalent to 11-story high concrete wall. A total of 4.4 million cubic meters of concrete was poured to build these massive chamber walls, one of the largest construction projects in the world. This water-saving basin is the largest in the world. It was designed to reduce the volume of water needed to operate the lock system. It also limits the amount of water lost. Instead of draining the lock into the downstream canal, it can drain partially into the nearby reservoir, where 60% is recycled from the basin. This expanded canal project, finished in 2016, certainly is another monumental engineering achievement similar to the first one in 1914. It is remarkable that 51% of the maritime trade the entire world passes through this 51-mile shortcut across the Panama Isthmus, effectively bringing the economy of one side of the world closer to the other side. Looking back, it was a fascinating learning experience to see how ships are literally lifted across mountains by a remarkable series of water elevators and man-made lakes. We hope that you have enjoyed this short video. Tell us what you think.